Hello everybody, this is Simon with Let's Play Sonic 2006. Are you ready for a double feature? Because when I recorded just going to Kingdom Valley, I was still talking to all these people who give helpful hints, like you should go to the cave because we have a cave exploration club. The final video was still under 3 minutes and you know, I've been trolling about this before, but the joke is only good once, unless it's a meme. Then it's always good, but not this time. So we're going to double up with this, and also all of the town missions. You might have seen a few blue dots on the minimap. This guy to the left, fuck this guy by the way, he's terrible. And yeah, but so far we are only following the red dots. Yes, just follow the breadcrumbs. Funny thing about this, by the way, I was fully intending to like splice in the town missions before or just go back a little bit, but had to re-record a little bit because unbeknownst to me, behind me the door closed. There is no reason why, but it closed. Anyway, we have to buy the light dash here, like for Sonic. We're also buying the Chaos Boost level 1, so we can finally use one of Shadow's core mechanics. We're not going to be tutorialized on it at all. We have to use it, yes, but we're not going to get tutorialized on it. More on that in a second. For now, let's go through the forest, which is a lot more enjoyable than it was with Silver. Let me tell you that. There are some springs around. They don't do much, but of course there are 1 or 2 silver medals up here, and that's what they're for. But that's just a tiny distraction, padding out the length of a video where I already was like, oh, I'm already halfway there. Anyway, what the hell is going on with you, Grandma? What are you doing? I wasn't even close to touching you. Now I'm touching you, of course. Now you can react, because Shadow is edgy and evil, and he steals lollipops from grandmothers. But did she know that? Psychic grandmother. Anyway, this is where we have to go. Finally, these stairs actually make sense. We had them once in a silver mission, but now there is rocks in the way, for some reason. Yeah. I wonder if the store has something for this boy to take care of the rocks. Dynamite? Question mark? No, we have to use the Chaos Gorge boost thing. Alright, so the gorge is full, and then we press the R2 trigger, rare for this game, and now we can destroy the rocks. This is the only time in the entire game where you have to power up to destroy rocks. It's actually, again, it's similar to Shadow's own game, where some of the rocks, in that game could only be destroyed by a Chaos Blast. But, I mean, you had to use that like 3 times, at the very least, for keys mostly. But, yeah, anyway, we're already up to Kingdom Valley. Good thing we didn't have to go through any dumb shit trials, right? Game? Anyway, in order to fulfill the town mission quota for this video, we actually have to go back in time, because as I said, the door closes behind us, and no, I still don't know why, and it annoys me to a great deal because it has cost me 2 very nicely paced Let's Plays parts so far, because in both Sonic and in Silver Story I was surprised by this happening, and then I had to be like an awkward final extra video just to finish that. Anyway, here is an invincibility. Why? I don't know. I have no idea. This is not a hard mission, but I mean, I guess it protected me from this worm, maybe, but possibly also it was already gone, so I don't know. Anyway, the big problem here is only that sometimes the worms are underground and you have to wait for them to show up, and the boxes are actually more in the way than they help. I don't know how they would help, but you know, whatever. Otherwise, it is again a beautiful showcase of Shadow just being able to kill everything behind him. If you just keep hammering the button. And the minimap in these missions actually helps quite a deal, quite a big deal, because you know where the enemies are. So sometimes I just blindly attack in the air, but rest assured I'm looking at the minimap, so it's not actually blind. Anyway, it's relatively easy. You see, it was kind of close because I was flailing a little bit, but it's the first mission, so yeah, whatever, you just kill a few dudes, it's okay. It's nothing special. So we have to talk about the next mission then. Oh boy, the second mission is one of those problems Shadow's story has. You know, you just go here and you're like, let's do a town mission, and it's just a little bit of combat, and you're like, yeah, Shadow is the combat-focused character. That's fine. I mean, the last part of White Acropolis was a bit bullshit, and as a newbie, Cerberus is terrible. So let's just do a few town missions. Things are looking up. The start of this story is not bad, right? It's fine. And then you reach this dumb mission. It's probably the dumbest mission in the game. I mean, we have had a few dumb missions so far, but this one is just designed to trick you. See? It's like, got this? Maybe bring out the pen and paper. You will fail this the first time. Of course, because you don't know what he actually expects of you. I have a guide open in another monitor. So, you do not want to redo this, because every time you fail this at any point, you have to start all over again. You have to go through all of the loading screens all the time. The one good thing about this is that it is not random. But here you see it already starts. It tries to trick you. He's like, oh, was it a different sequence? Oh, if you're just going off memory, then you might conceivably be like, well, what was the actual number? And by the way, while the text box is up, the time does not stop. So if you want an S rank in this, you better write down those answers and do not look at what he actually says and just look at your sheet of paper with the answers already presented, which is exactly what I would have had to do anyway, but you know, somebody else already wrote it down for me. Now we have to smash the boxes with the numbers that were not in the sequence. Ha! Funny twist, isn't it? You wrote all of that down and wasted your time, and you're already out of an S rank, and why does the user interface keep breaking anyway? Let's do all of this again, look for the right box. Of course I could memorize this as well, but with a guide open it's not too bad, but it's still pretty close at the end. 5, 3, 6, 2, 6. Got it at the second and the fourth together. This is 6, 5, 6, this is 11. I don't know, I already forgot. It's terrible. It's just really, really bad. And again, we are on Xenia, we're on an emulator, and I'm on a really beefy computer right now, which is great. So these loading screens barely exist. On hardware, 30 seconds plus for every single one of these. Every time you make it, and every time he asks the next question. Terrific, beautiful game design, 500 time bonus points to spare. You get a little bit of score from the boxes, but it's definitely not enough to bolster anything if you take your time just a little bit. Wow, what a bad mission. Let's never talk about this again. And by the way, the worst thing, I'm already talking about it again, this has nothing to do with maths except for those 2 additions. Fuck you! Anyway, back to funner content. Like, for example, Shadow's skates glitching into the floor every time. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, why am I going back here? Because this guy is actually mission 3. Why are they arranged so strangely? Haha, you haven't seen anything yet. Anyway, are you looking forward to using the Buggy more? Because you have to use the Buggy in a lot of Shadow's town missions. That's great, isn't it? It's really cool. Anyway, for this mission, really want to use the boost. If you use the boost, then this is not hard. Yeah, the cars for some reason are not valid attacks, valid targets for the homing of the missiles, so you actually have to aim. And then some of them are done in 3 shots and some of them are done in 2 shots, but it's not a big deal, as you can see, if you use the boost. However, when you play this game and you don't read the manual, or you read the English manual, which is completely wrong for everything I've heard, as I've said before, then you don't know about this boost. And I think, maybe, I barely remember, if you fail this mission, like if you let the timer run out because the last car got away from you, which happens if you don't use the boost, then I think on restart they tell you that you have to double tap the A button. And with double tapping, I don't mean in the way that Silver uses his teleport dash. No. Yes. You have to hammer the button with like 2 frames of delay in between. It's like you're trying to go for the speedrun trick. It's crazy how quick you have to push this button. And like when I first played this mission and tried to like really even just succeed in it, it did tell me the tip that you have to double tap the A button, just press A and A again, you know, the jump button if you're playing on a different controller. And you know, it barely works. By the way, just showing off that you can also buy stuff here, isn't that fun? They had to put the shop in the jungle because they closed the door behind you. You can see it here. Anyway, let's have a more fun mission, huh? Because I'm making this sound really terrible, because and it kind of is. And again, this is the first impression of Shadow. This, you can't really take back these first impressions. You start the game and then the story, I mean, then you have no idea what to do in White Acropolis. then you have no idea what to do in Excerberus because he's suddenly way harder and you have to do 4 hits. Then you do 1 decent town mission, and then 2 crap ones back to back, one of which is just the absolute worst and one which is barely explained. And then you finally can do one that is kind of fun. This one here again just shows off how Shadow can melt enemies. Remember how difficult and annoying these purple Iblis enemies were as Silver? Absolutely no problem for Shadow. He should probably ask himself where all of these weird creatures are coming from and why they are not actually Iblis creatures but Mephiles creatures, because they're purple, you know. And also I should ask myself, why would anybody in their right mind care about the lore of which enemy is presented where? Anyway, this one was really dangerous actually. I thought that the rock would hit me on the way down because it often does. You could also see here at the end how I used the technique of hitting enemies off screen because I'm really smart and good at this game, guys. Anyway, fun enough mission, not particularly different from the first mission, but you know, we work with what we have here. Just combat, which Shadow is good at. I'm happy with that. It was fun. Let's move on to the next one. But for this one, actually, I'm just gonna, you know, really quickly, because it's just all the way on the other side here. But you might have noticed I skipped a guy. Why did I skip him? Because he's Town Mission 6. This one is Town Mission 5. Why did they make it like this? I have no earthly clue, but you know, this game, it's not finished. It's a deep, dark secret, but sometimes you can spot the issues. That's one of them. Anyway, this one here is surprisingly tough because it's not surprising. What am I talking about? The Buggy handles like anus. That, you know, and also you have to boost because the time limit is pretty close for an S rank. Just doing it, it's trivial, of course, to just drive through the rings, whatever. I mean, yeah, you have a time limit, but that's not an issue. But the time limit for the S rank, well, it's pretty close. But fortunately, I by now know how to boost, and you can see here, that's exactly the amount of time you can take. You get a little bit from the boxes where you can just drive through, but it's not much, and yeah, it's tough, but at least it's over quick. So if you have to redo this, it's not big of an issue, so whatever. Just drive the Buggy. It will train you in the Buggy ways, that's for sure. At some point you know how to drive the Buggy after you've done the Buggy ring race a few times. Is this going to help? No, but hey, it's something. You're gonna get better at the game, and driving the Buggy well is at the very least required in White Acropolis for your eventual replay of the best game ever made. Anyway, Mystery of the Ghost. This one is a bit weird, and wow, I've never had a glitch happen here. Okay, everything's stable, everything's fine. It's just invisible enemies. And what's really weird here is that these kind of invisible traps, they're always, whenever you encounter them in the game, coded as leader enemies for every single enemy that is currently existing, even themselves, which is really weird. I don't know why they did it. Anyway, this one here can be a little bit annoying because you have to hit the enemies on the side of the tree. And hey, somebody put all of these apples into those barrels. I hope that's not something that made somebody mad, that I spilled all of them. And you see a problem here with conveyance. We're going to talk about this quite a few times, but this is the spring and the enemies are on top of the tree. Because the minimap is kind of garbage, you don't see that. Anyway, I like the setup here though, because you have to hit the 10 ring box in order to get a decent ring bonus at the end, and make sure that you don't fall down, because if you have to go around the tree and hit the spring again, it's just a big issue, isn't it? And the problem here is that the enemies, they drop their bombs that they have already readied when they get killed, and said bomb was still lying around as a physics object, innocently rolling. I couldn't even see it, and yeah, it destroyed me. Which is bad because it costs me a bunch of ring bonus, and this is exactly what I was fearing when I was saying that the rock of the big Iblis golem could hit me. Yeah, bit annoying. Anyway, they probably had the idea of like this big set piece fight at the end, but any invisible enemy kills every enemy on screen, so that's okay, man. Anyway, 30,000 points, isn't that nice? What? It's just a B rank? Oh, it's one of these missions where they figured out, oh, all this combat is giving you a lot of points, so everybody will get an S rank naturally if we only put it at 30k. There was this one Sonic mission where you had to protect the lady in waiting. Same idea. Anyway, let's redo it real quick, just a little bit more efficient. because last time was the first time I tried it, so obviously I was getting a little bit confused. This time I'm homing attack chaining like a champion. It's the second try. But yeah, by this point I know how this works and how the game works in general. I do as well. I still miss the spring, but you know, if you're doing this for yourself, just run the other way around the tree. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna succeed. You're not even gonna get hit here, so this is a cakewalk then. Otherwise, as I said, that was kind of tricky. But again, you can use the minimap to see where the enemies are to reorient yourself. Then you hit the invisible enemies first, and everything is dandelions. There is none here, so this is the actual one part of this that is kind of challenging. But again, just make sure that you do not start a flailing around chain if you're not in view of an enemy, because then otherwise you will just hang in the air, and once your chain ends, you will just get killed. And here you just kill the invisible crabs and everything is wonderful. You get a lot of bonus and you get enough points to finish the mission with an S rank. It's still kind of close though, so you really do not want to get hit here. It's challenging, it's fun. This is by far the best of these missions here, and I wish that all of them were this level of cleverness. You gotta say it how it is. Next time, a really long and poorly explained level. Thank you very much for your attention.